All right, here I am, Sam Torres and the 440 Sports Show. I am joined here by Coach Alvin Rodriguez from the St. John Heralds. Alvin, thanks so much for joining and giving us a little bit of time tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Glad to be here, man. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so you're coming off, and this is, I believe, your second year as the head coach over at
Third.
St. John?
We're going into
Third year.
third year here.
All right, so third year as the St. John head coach. For those of the audience members here on YSN who are just kind of getting acquainted with both you and St. John, talk a little bit about your journey and baseball in general.
Oh, well, I was a 2004 graduate of St. John. That was back when we had some really good baseball teams. I was living in Columbus for about a decade. When I came back, I just wanted to offer some help to the school, and then I kind of ended up in this position. I'm a baseball guy through and through, love it my whole life, and when I got the opportunity, man, I jumped at it. So I love baseball, I love the school, and I just wanted to kind of get us back to the glory days, That's really
And I can remember those glory days because that's right around the time I graduated, and that's why St. John's always been good at baseball as far as I was concerned, because I only knew good baseball over at St. John.
Yeah, it's a sport, and we were a smaller school. You don't have to be 6'3", 285 to do it, and those are the guys we had, and we just tried to develop a tough brand of baseball, and we're trying to bring that back.
Yeah, and last year you guys have a pretty fair amount of success as you guys end the year pretty hot, getting a win in the tournament against the hosting team, Fairport, that, which is a pretty big deal into itself. Let's talk a little bit about that year last year because it started off a little bit shaky, but you guys were trying to get your feet underneath of you. But at the end of the year, you were still playing a couple extra games more than other people.
Yeah, we had some good success. Like you said, we started out a little bit slower. Ended up sectional champs, district runner-up, which we were very happy with. That was the first time that happened at St. John since actually my senior year of high school in 2004. So it's been a while. We're getting older now. But we came together, and last year we had to deal with numbers. So we only had 11 to start out with. We ended the year with 10. This year is very different. We have a lot more kids. But we got hot at the right time. We really kind of came into our own. We took the step that we wanted to, and we just want to continue doing that this year. It was really exciting to play meaningful baseball that late in the season. The excitement from the kids, the coaching staff, the school, it was a great thing, and we got a taste for it. We want more of it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really admired with not only as your approach to the game, as a coach, I think you do a phenomenal job, and these kids are really buying in on the program. And I think it's because, like you said, you're a baseball guy and you believe in the program. But I think one of the things you did probably better than anybody I think I've seen is manage arms, because you didn't have a whole lot of arms to manage. You had to make most of the arms you had. Talk a little bit about that struggle last year, because we'll talk about the roster coming in this year, and I don't think it's going to be the same problem.
Yeah, I have to put all that on my assistant coach, John Timonier. So John was a pitcher himself. I believe he's a 2017 graduate. Phenomenal pitcher. Really has a great relationship with the kids, and we kind of put that. He's our pitching coach. It's a collaborative effort, of course, but John is phenomenal working with these kids, managing arms, the pitch count. Like every coach in Northeast Ohio, we cancel so many games in the early portion of the season. When we get to, May, and you got 4 games in a row and you got to manage arms and stuff, it's tough. So having a coach that has really got his nose on it and really knows our kids is an amazing advantage for us. But like I said, it gets pretty hairy, and you got to kind of put some stuff in. And we have some kids that we're very lucky for having such few guys. Most of our guys can throw. If we need some strikes, we can go to a lot of different people. We're confident in that. And even last year, I think we had, if you looked at our roster, we were throwing 5 of the 11 as pitchers, and getting some good relief. We really leaned on Will Anderson last year to be our middle reliever and kind of bridge gaps. And we were very fortunate that those young guys really stepped up. We're a very young team, but they are wise beyond their years.
Yeah, you talk about being a young team, and with that youth, even with the youth last year, one of the things I talk about on the show are baseball guys and year-round baseball guys in particular. You got a couple guys, and we'll bring that graphic up right now, and Ryan Williams and Ryan Williams and Will Anderson, who are year-round baseball guys. These guys are travel ball players. They're doing a lot, seeing a lot. How much of that kind of played a part? Because it almost seemed like those guys took on a leadership role before their time.
Yeah, we had the young guys step up. As a coach, I don't look for just the oldest guy to be the leader. If you can step up and people follow you, I think it's really important. So we had Matt Miller is a year-round baseball guy, plays travel. Bryce does. Even Aaron does. So we have some guys who are coming to us with a lot of baseball experience. Like I said, wise beyond their years. I mean, any baseball guy in the world can sit and talk with these guys and just know that, okay, they understand the game. They understand how to play their position. They understand how to be leaders, lead by example, and just be really, really great teammates. And as a coach, that's what I look for. So if you want to kind of be that team that is greater than the sum of your parts, you lean on teammates and you lean on leaders. And when you have multiple guys at multiple positions, when I can put someone in the outfield and know that they can run everything that we need to, when we have a catcher that can do that, we had Devin last year. We're going to have Ryan catching for us this year. We have some guys at every position, and that's just a huge win for us. Because we have we went from 11 last year to this year. We're going to have 16 or 17 kids. We need those kind of almost like player coaches, to be on the field to really help everything out. So having the travel ball guys, the real genuine baseball guys who love it like I do, it's phenomenal, man. It really is.
Yeah, and especially on a team where you were talking about where the numbers really last year weren't high. You're managing 10, you're 2 injuries away from forfeit. So you really gotta, but this year, this year, obviously you're not going to have that problem. I want to talk, Matt Miller has been phenomenal last year. We actually got a chance to see him hit a couple dingers last year when we covered you guys against the Edgewood game, which I'll be honest, breaks my heart that game doesn't happen this year. But
I'm holding on to hope that it will, man. We're going to cancel about half of that schedule because of weather. So I'm holding on hope.
I've said it on every show. The best part of the baseball season being fluid is some of these games that I want to happen may actually happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get guys like Tommy Miller coming back, Jesus Hernandez, who is a really great, outfielder and a tall guy who can pitch the ball. You talked already about
Cannon
Bryce.
From the outfield. Tom is just such a solid guy, great bat. Of course, Bryce, Will, Farron coming back has taken huge strides from a guy who had never played baseball before. Then we got some guys coming up too, so we're really excited about all that.
Yeah, I think obviously every kid has a part on this team, but the most interesting part of your team this year, I gotta say, is the new additions part. You got some kids who are coming in, some young kids who are immediately going to make a difference. Anthony Severino is just a phenomenal baseball player. Donald Crawford's another kid who plays a ton of baseball. Hensley coming to play this year. You're getting Wychalk back, and Vin Narducci, who's probably the most interesting of the bunch because I didn't even know that young man played baseball.
He did. He does now, though. The great thing about Vin is probably one of the most coachable guys that I've had the opportunity to coach. And he is a great athlete, and he's picking stuff up. Like, he's every practice getting better. He's just being a sponge. And then it also is going to help that we have these baseball guys that he is really good friends with, really close with, that they're really bringing him along. So that's where like the team aspect comes in, the developing talent comes in. And that's always really high up on my list. And Vin's one of those guys that's just picking it up like it's just second nature to him. So I'm excited to see what he'll do by the end of the year.
Yeah, me too. I think he's got a great chance because he's got a great coach. And, Alvin, one of the things, not just in your coaching, but obviously in your regular life as a personal trainer, you talk about culture. Culture is a big thing.
Absolutely.
What is the culture you're trying to get set up in there? Is that something you're working into your team, or are expectations pretty much set already?
So it develops, right? So my big thing is if I'm asking these kids to get better as individuals and players, young men, I'm trying to do the same thing as a coach. And that is a constant thing. So really challenging your assumptions about everything that we do, moving on with things, being good teammates. The culture is really like a team culture that we push, and accountability. It's baseball is very different from coaching football that I've done in the past, and it's much more calm of a sport, right? So we try to teach, be a good teammate, play loose, have fun. I mean, I loved playing baseball as a kid. Some of the best memories I have through little league when we played together, high school, all that stuff. So we try to encourage, we foster that this is a good time, but this is a serious time, and we can do something, and that's really it. So become better than the sum of your parts. Really push hard, but still continue to have fun and play the game the right way. That's what I push.
Yeah, I mean, play the game the right way. Like you said, back when we played, this guy right here, first person I ever saw hit a home run all the way to the concession stand. Still remember that to this day. I didn't even think it was possible. I thought I was playing with Albert Bell. Getting back into the team here just a little bit. This team is, you got some conference games, some big conference games coming up already, obviously this year. You got some really quality out of conference games in Geneva, Jefferson. Warren JFK is a phenomenal baseball
They're
program
like a
down
juggernaut,
there.
man. That's the one we really wanted. Very excited. If we want to take those steps, we have to get in front of those teams. We had a chance to see them when we played at that single A park, the double headers that they put on for us last year. We sat and watched these guys, and they are legit. And to get them on a schedule, I'm just so excited for the guys to be able to do that. We're really excited to be in the NAC this year, to just have a chance to win a conference. And these are teams that we've played, and we've played them pretty tough. And we think we can really, really be in contention for that. So we're very excited about that. Like, looking at the schedule, it's something that when I showed the guys, I was like, all right, this is going to be good for us. It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be good for us. We like the challenge.
Now, so is this would then be the first year that you guys have been in the NAC?
Yes, yeah, the first year baseball. So this is
Okay.
this is the first year, and we're ready to go, man.
Yeah, there's some tough guys in that conference alone. I mean, PV has never been a slouch in baseball. They got a lot of great guys playing there.
PV,
Chalk.
Matthews, Bristol. Bristol was we lost to them in the district final, and it was we were hit away, and we remember that. We respect that team. They are coached really well. Matthews is coached well. PV is too, and we're looking forward to just being in with those guys and really fighting for that first place spot.
Yeah, and one of the things is when you have that high level of competition and you guys are going against a team like Bristol or a team like Warren JFK or any team that you're going to potentially run into, as a smaller school, I think a lot of teams, a lot of players tend to get that intimidation. They feel intimidated, but I don't necessarily see that with you or your guys. You guys, are ready to go and seemingly understand that everybody's hitting the same ball on the same field and that sort of thing. How has that kind of become part of your team culture? Because these guys, St. John, they play very well against everybody they're going against, whether they're outmatched or not.
Well, one of the things I preach is just, you got to be confident. It's baseball is a game of failure. It's like you go 3 for 10 for your entire career, you're all-star, you're Hall of Fame. So that's what I love about baseball. It's very much like life. Allow yourself to make the mistakes and keep going. It's when you're going to strike out. You're going to go down looking. You're going to do all the things you don't want to do, but it's how you come back from it. And we talk about that day in and day out. A lot of my coaching is way beyond just, where you're backing up or situational stuff. I'm talking to these guys about, how you're going to come back from that tough day. And they pick it up, they believe in it, and we just kind of take that and run. And that's what we kind of preach there. So there's a good amount of talk about like the psychology of sport. It seems kind of corny a little bit, but it works for us. So that's what we do.
Yeah, you can see it. I'll tell you what, you can see it because there were games where you guys were down early, came back. There were games where you guys went out and got off the bus ready to hit as many as you could hit. You know what I mean? You guys have started on both sides of that, but you guys, always at the end of the game, very rarely, not very rarely, I'll say, I don't think I ever saw anybody jumping on anybody. It was always picking people up, that sort of thing. That's a great thing to see too. And I think that's a hard thing for a lot of people like that have played at a high level. You look at a kid like Ryan Williams, you look at a kid like Will Anderson, Matt Miller. These guys who travel, they're playing big time competition. Sometimes it's hard to swallow that those losses because they're not used to it.
Yeah, they're not used to it. But the good thing, like I said, seeing that much baseball, they have a maturity about them with the game. And that rubs off on everybody around the team. So when you have some guys that have seen a lot, when you've seen 85, 90 from some of these tournaments that these guys go to, and you can come kind of share that experience and be a leader, it really rubs off on the rest of the team. And I think that's a huge thing. So we're very lucky as coaches to have those kind of guys. And the coaches, we just all buy into it. We have a belief, it's St. John's always been us little small school against the world. And we buy into that, and that's something we always talk about. So it's us versus the world. And we try to keep it very tight knit with us. So.
Yeah, and you can see it, and it works, and it does it. One of my favorite things in the last couple of years broadcasting baseball and getting to see some great high school baseball players and baseball teams from the area is every once in a while you get a surprise. Whether it's an opponent or one of your teams. Sometimes it's a pitcher who you don't know that he can throw like that or anything. A hitter who's jacking shots all over the field. Any of those moments that you could think of in the last couple of years where you're like, where did that come from?
Well, I knew these guys were good that I'm going to talk about, but some of the stuff they did was just wild. Ryan Williams coming in as a freshman throwing a no-hitter, that was phenomenal. He no-hit Harvey last year, and that was just watching that. I'm looking at game changer, and I'm like, this is happening. Matt going off hitting 2 home runs, stuff like that. Just guys stepping up and playing different positions. Just coming through in really, really clutch times. It's so cool to see a kid develop into a great player like that. So it's really cool to see.
Yeah, that I'll tell you what it is. That's my favorite part of watching it. Obviously watching it on a different from a different perspective. It's really fun to get to watch some of these kids develop through. I've known some of these kids as they were younger too, because they're about the same age as my kid. So yeah. I've gotten to watch
classmates, exactly.
Yeah. So got to get to watch some of these kids actually develop and become baseball players, and under the right person, because it's my kids' friends and a friend of me, a friend of mine from when I was a kid, getting to watch you, and it's the right man for the job. So it's really fun to get to watch this whole thing happen. And I think St. John is really
that, but I got to say, it's all these kids, man. I got no eligibility left. I'm not swinging a bat. I'm just sitting on the bench anymore. I just think we have an opportunity to put these kids in the right position to win. And that's what I take joy in. And we really sit down with my coaches and we work really close together on just, hey, put these kids in the right position, let them play baseball, let them have fun. And good things have been happening. So we're going to keep that up.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's going to, Coach. It really is. You got a great thing going. The change is real. Coach, first thing, before I let you go, I want to ask you the same thing I'm asking all the coaches. When the St. John Heralds take the diamond this year, what are we going to get used to seeing? What can we look forward to watching?
We're looking to be just a team with fewer holes in it than last year. So we're trying to play a different brand of baseball. We're kind of playing a little bit more small ball, putting some more pressure on the defenses, taking advantage of stuff, kind of tightening up our knowledge of the game. Like I said, we had some gaps, and we had some guys that played year round, and we had some guys that are relatively new. We're going to kind of close those gaps. But we want to play fast. We want to play really well disciplined. And we want to put pressure on teams. I think that's the thing that we're going to try to do this year more than anything. Just, we like to steal bases. We're going to be laying down bunts. We're going to be playing tight defense, and we're going to be trying to get our pitchers to throw lots of strikes, but not worrying about striking everybody out because we got a good defense. Keep that ball low, hit them some ground balls, and we'll take care of it for you. So that's what we want to. That's the brand of baseball we're looking to play.
That's awesome. I'll tell you what, folks, I can't make it any better than that. Coach Alvin, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm looking forward to covering a ton of St. John baseball this year, getting them here on your sports network live. It's going to be a great season. You get to build from the success you had last year, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome for you guys this year.
Hey, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for talking.